how much of your life truly belongs to you? Think about it. Every decision you make, how much of it is yours and how much is shaped by what others expect? The job you choose, the way you speak, even the dreams you allow yourself to chase, are they truly yours? Or are they molded by the fear of judgment, the need for approval, the silent pressure to fit into someone else's idea of success? From the moment we are born, we are taught to seek validation. As children, we look for a smile from our parents when we do something right. In school, we strive for grades that prove our worth. In life, we wait for someone to tell us we're good enough before we believe in ourselves. But here's the truth: no one tells you. The world is not waiting to give you permission. No one is coming to crown you as worthy. If you spend your life waiting for others to approve of you, you'll never move. You'll be stuck in a cycle, chasing approval, fearing rejection, living small because you're too afraid to step beyond what is expected. So I ask you again, how much of your life truly belongs to you? Because until you decide that it's yours, all of it, your choices, your failures, your victories, your voice, you will always be living for someone else. Why are you waiting? Think about the dreams you have, the goals you want to achieve. Now ask yourself what's stopping you. Most people don't realize it, but they spend their entire lives waiting for someone to tell them they're ready. Waiting for approval, for validation, for some invisible signal that says, go ahead, you have permission. But who are you waiting for? A teacher? A boss? Society? The truth is, no one is coming to give you permission. No one is going to knock on your door and say, it's your time now. If you're waiting for that moment, you'll be waiting forever. Look at the people who changed the world. Do you think they waited? Steve Jobs didn't ask permission to revolutionize technology. Oprah Winfrey didn't wait for someone to approve of her voice. Elon Musk didn't sit around hoping the world would tell him he was good enough. They decided. They moved. And that's what separates those who make things happen from those who stay stuck. You don't need permission to chase your dream. You don't need approval to start. The only person who can decide you're ready is you. So stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop hesitating. Step forward. Take control. Because the life you want isn't given, it's taken. You've been told that you need more. More resources. More knowledge. More connections. They say success is out there somewhere beyond your reach, waiting for the right circumstances, the right moment, the right opportunity. But here's the truth: no one tells you already have everything you need. You don't need permission. You don't need someone to hand you a blueprint. You don't need more time, more luck, or more approval. What you need is to realize your own power. Think about this: every great success story didn't start with the perfect conditions. It started with someone who refused to wait. Oprah didn't come from wealth. She built it. Edison didn't have a roadmap. He created it. J.K. Rowling was rejected over and over. She kept going. It was never about what they lacked, it was about what they believed. And that's the shift you need to make. Stop looking outside for what's already inside. Stop believing the lie that you're missing something. You have the mind. You have the heart. You have the will. Now you have to use them. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to start. From the moment we take our first breath, we're taught one thing: fit in. As children, we seek approval from parents. In school, we follow the rules to be praised by teachers. As we grow, we mold ourselves to be accepted by society. It's wired into us, the need to belong, the fear of rejection. And for a long time, it made sense. Centuries ago, being accepted by a group meant survival. Being cast out meant danger, loneliness, even death. But times have changed, yet the fear remains. Think about it. How many times have you held yourself back just to avoid judgment? How many dreams have you buried because they didn't fit the expectations of others? We crave acceptance because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is determined by the opinions of those around us. But here's what they don't tell you: the people you seek approval from, they are just as uncertain, just as flawed, just as scared as you. You are chasing validation from people who are still trying to validate themselves. So ask yourself, who is really in control of your life? The need for approval is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of conditioning. But the moment you become aware of it, the moment you see it for what it truly is, that's the moment you begin to break free. How many times have you caught yourself waiting? Waiting for the right opportunity. Waiting for someone to notice your talent. Waiting for permission to step into your own greatness. You tell yourself, if only someone would give me a chance, if only they would see my worth. But here's the truth: no one tells you, no one is coming to choose you. No one is going to knock on your door and hand you the life you dream of. No one is going to write your story for you, because the world doesn't reward the ones who wait. It rewards the ones who step up and take control. Look at the people who changed history. Steve Jobs didn't wait for a tech giant to cheer to waste him. He built Apple from his garage. J.K. Rowling didn't wait for approval. She faced rejection after rejection and still believed in her story. Do you see the pattern? The moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop hoping for someone else to open the door for you, that's the moment everything changes. You don't need someone to choose you. You need to choose yourself. Stop looking for validation. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping someone else will recognize your worth before you do. The power is already in your hands. The only question is, will you finally use it? How much of your life has been shaped by what others think of you? Think about it. How many choices have you made not because you wanted to, but because you were afraid of what people might say? How often have you held back, played small, or silenced yourself just to fit into a mold someone else created? Here's the harsh reality. The moment you let others define you, you stop being yourself. You become a reflection of their expectations, their judgments, their limitations. And in that process, you lose the most valuable thing you have, your identity. How many dreams have died because someone said that's not realistic? How many voices have gone unheard because someone decided you're not good enough? And the worst part, you believed them. But let me ask you this, who gave them the right? Who gave them the power to decide what you can and cannot be? Because last time I checked, the only person who gets to define your worth is you. It's time to take back control. It's time to break free from the opinions that have kept you in chains. Because at the end of the day, their words don't shape your destiny, your actions do. So stop living for their approval. Stop letting their opinions become your prison. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I decide who I am. I decide what I become. And that decision starts now. If no one clapped for you, if no one praised you, if no one ever acknowledged your efforts, would you still chase your dreams? Think about it. Would you still put in the work if no one was watching? Would you still push forward if no one ever said good job? Or are you only chasing applause? Because that's where most people go wrong. They don't want the dream itself. They want the validation that comes with it. They want the title, the recognition, the admiration. But what happens when that fades? What happens when no one notices? Do you stop? The greatest doers in history didn't rise because the world encouraged them. They rose because they refused to stop whether the world cared or not. Vincent van Gogh painted over 2,000 pieces in his lifetime. Do you know how many he sold while he was alive? One. Just one. But he didn't stop. Because his passion wasn't tied to approval. So ask yourself, are you chasing your dream or are you chasing validation? Because if it's the second one, you will never be free. Your passion will be a puppet, controlled by the reactions of others. But if you truly love what you do, if it fuels you, defines you, breathes life into you, then it won't matter who's watching. You'll do it anyway. And that's the difference between those who want success and those who become it. What if you trusted yourself completely, not halfway, not when things are easy, but fully, without hesitation, without second guessing, without looking to others for approval? What would change? Everything. Because radical self-trust isn't just confidence. It's a foundation, a force that makes you unstoppable, unshaken, and undeniably powerful. It's the difference between waiting for permission and giving it to yourself. Look at the greats. Steve Jobs didn't wait for the world to validate his vision. He trusted himself enough to build something no one else could see. Serena Williams didn't ask if she belonged, she knew she did, long before the world recognized her greatness. And that's the truth. The world doesn't validate you first. You validate yourself, and the world follows. But most people, they hesitate, they doubt. They look around, waiting for someone to say, yes, you're good enough. Stop waiting, because the second you decide fully, completely, and without apology that you trust yourself, doors open. Not because the world magically changes, but because you do. You move differently. You take risks without fear. You stand taller, speak clearer, act bolder. And that energy, it's magnetic. It attracts success, respect, and the right opportunities. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you fully trusted yourself? No more questioning, no more hesitation, just action, confidence, and relentless belief. This is the shift that changes everything. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's freedom. Somewhere along the way, people convince you that being confident is dangerous. That if you believe in yourself too much, you'll come off as arrogant, egotistical, or full of yourself. So you shrink. You hesitate. You downplay your skills, your voice, your value just to make others comfortable. But let me tell you something, real confidence isn't about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing you don't have to compare yourself to anyone at all. Arrogance is built on insecurity. It needs to prove something. It shouts, demands attention, and puts others down to feel powerful. Confidence. It doesn't need validation. It stands firm. It doesn't ask for permission. It just is. Look at the people you admire. The ones who walk into a room and own their presence. Are they arrogant? Or do they carry an unshakable belief in themselves? Confidence is power not because it makes you better than others, but because it makes you unstoppable in your own lane. It frees you from the opinions that used to hold you back. It allows you to speak, act, and move with certainty without waiting for approval. So ask yourself, have you been playing small because you were afraid of how your confidence might be perceived? Because confidence isn't a problem. Lack of confidence is. Own your voice. Own your voice. Own your worth, not arrogantly, but unapologetically. Your mind is always listening. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every belief you hold, it's all programming. And the question is, what are you programming? If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, I don't have what it takes, guess what? Your mind will believe it. It will find proof to support it. It will build your reality around that belief. But here's the truth, your thoughts are not facts, they are instructions. And your mind follows the instructions you give it. Neuroscience has proven that the brain is rewirable. It adapts, reshapes, and strengthens the patterns you repeat. That means you can either condition yourself for success or sabotage yourself with doubt. Look at elite athletes, top performers, world-changing leaders. Do you think they got there by feeding their minds with negativity? No, they trained themselves to think like winners before they ever won. They programmed their minds for success long before the results showed up. Muhammad Ali said it best, I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. That's the power of programming. So what are you telling yourself every day? Are you planting seeds of strength or seeds of fear? Are you reinforcing your potential or feeding your limitations? Because here's the reality, if you don't take control of your thoughts, someone else will. Society, doubters, your past failures. It's time to rewrite the script. Tell yourself, I am capable. I am strong. I am built for this. Repeat it. Believe it. Program it. Because the moment you change the way you think, everything else follows. Every single day you're making choices that either push you forward or hold you back. And the truth is, it's not the big, dramatic moments that shape your future. It's the small, daily decisions that determine who you become. What time do you wake up? How do you speak to yourself in the mirror? Do you choose discipline or comfort? Do you take action or make excuses? At first, these decisions seem small, almost insignificant. But over time, they compound. One healthy meal turns into a strong body. One focused hour turns into mastery. One positive affirmation turns into unshakable confidence. Look at the greats Kobe Bryant, Elon Musk, Serena Williams. Their success wasn't built overnight. It was built in the unseen moments, the extra reps in the gym, the late nights studying, the sacrifices no one noticed. So what does this mean for you? It means the power to become unstoppable is already in your hands. Start with the simple, unbreakable habits. Wake up and take control of your morning. Don't let the world dictate your mindset. Feed your mind with thoughts that empower you, not thoughts that weaken you. Show up for your goals even when you don't feel like it. Keep your word to yourself. If you say you're going to do something, follow through. That's how self-trust is built. Because in the end, confidence isn't given. Strength isn't gifted. Success isn't handed out. It's earned through small, daily decisions. The question is, are you making the ones that build you or break you? There is a voice inside your head that never stops speaking. It's always there guiding you, influencing you, shaping your every decision. And yet most people never stop to question it, never stop to ask, is this voice helping me or is it holding me back? Because here's the truth, your inner voice is the silent force controlling your life. It determines how you see yourself, how you react to challenges, and whether you rise or retreat when things get tough. Think about it. Two people can face the same setback. One gives up, the other fights harder. One sees failure as proof they weren't meant for success. The other sees it as a lesson that makes them stronger. What makes the difference? Your inner dialogue. Your mind is always listening. The words you feed it become the reality you live. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, you won't take the risks that lead to growth. If you say, I can't do this, you'll never give yourself the chance to try. But what if you change the script? What if instead of tearing yourself down, you spoke to yourself with the same belief and encouragement you would give to a friend? What if every time doubt crept in, you answered back with strength? You are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You are the author of them. And the moment you take control of your inner voice is the moment you take control of your life. That voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, that you don't have what it takes, is lying to you. It always has been. Negative self-talk is a liar, but here's the dangerous part: you believe it. You accept it as truth because it sounds familiar. It's been whispering in your mind for years, shaping the way you see yourself. But just because a thought exists doesn't mean it's real. Think about it. Would you let someone stand in front of you and say you're a failure? You'll never be successful. You're not smart enough, strong enough, or talented enough. No, you would fight back, you would reject it. But when those same words come from inside your own mind, you listen. You let them define you. That ends now. It's time to expose the lie and rewrite the script. The next time that voice tells you, I can't, you answer back, yes, I can and I will. When it whispers, I'm not good enough, you say, I am more than enough. Don't let your mind bully you into believing you're less than you are. You have the power to train your thoughts just like you train your body. Challenge them. Question them. Replace every limiting belief with one that builds you up. Because the only way to silence negative self-talk is to drown it out with truth. If someone you love was struggling, doubting themselves, feeling like a failure, how would you speak to them? You wouldn't tear them down. You wouldn't call them weak or unworthy. You would lift them up. You would remind them of their strength, their resilience, their potential. So why do you refuse to do the same for yourself? You are your own greatest ally or your worst enemy, and the difference lies in how you speak to yourself. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, you chip away at your confidence. Every time you say, I always mess things up, you reinforce failure before you even try. But imagine if you spoke to yourself like someone you wanted to win. Imagine if instead of tearing yourself down, you built yourself up with words of strength and encouragement. Because here's the truth, your inner dialogue is programming your reality. The words you repeat to yourself become the foundation of your self-image. If you keep telling yourself you're not capable, you'll start living that belief. But if you shift your words, if you start saying, I am strong, I am growing, I am capable, you will start to embody that reality. Speak to yourself like someone you refuse to see fail, because the way you talk to yourself is shaping the person you become. Your mind is always listening. Every word you speak, every thought you entertain, it absorbs. It doesn't question whether what you tell it is true, it simply follows orders. If you constantly feed it doubt, fear, and limitations, it will shape your reality to match. But if you train it to believe in your power, your potential, your ability to rise, it will shift everything in your favor. This isn't just motivation, it's science. Neuroplasticity proves that your brain is capable of rewiring itself. The thoughts you repeat, the beliefs you reinforce become the pathways your mind follows automatically. If you've spent years telling yourself you're not good enough, then failure will feel natural. But the same way negative thoughts create barriers, positive ones build bridges. Think about the greatest athletes, the most successful leaders. They weren't born with unshakable confidence. They trained their minds. They conditioned themselves to think in a way that aligned them with victory. Muhammad Ali didn't wait for the world to call him the greatest, he declared it first. He said it until he believed it, and then he became it. Your mind is your most powerful tool. But like any tool, it must be used correctly. Speak to it with intention. Reprogram it with thoughts of strength and success. Because once your mind believes, your actions will follow. And when your actions align with belief, nothing can stop you. True independence isn't about shutting the world out. It's not about doing everything on your own, refusing help, or pretending you don't need anyone. That's not strength, that's fierce, guys. This self-reliance. Real self-sufficiency is knowing that you are capable, that you can stand on your own 2 feet, but also understanding that connection is not a weakness. It's about building the skills, the mindset, and the resilience to navigate life's challenges without depending on someone else to save you. But it's also about knowing when to lean on others, when to ask for guidance, and when to accept support without feeling like you failed. Think about the most powerful people in history. They weren't isolated. They built networks. They learned from mentors. They surrounded themselves with people who pushed them forward. Even the greatest minds like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and Oprah Winfrey didn't do it alone. They built teams, sought advice, and leveraged relationships to create something greater than themselves. So ask yourself, are you isolating in the name of independence? Are you rejecting support because you think accepting it makes you weak? If so, shift your mindset. True strength isn't about being alone, it's about knowing that you could do it alone, but choosing not to. Because success isn't just about standing tall, it's about knowing when to stand together. Emotional dependence is a silent thief. It robs you of your confidence, your decision-making power, and your ability to stand on your own. And the worst part, most people don't even realize it's happening. You tell yourself you need their validation before making a move. You wait for someone else to approve your dreams before you chase them. You hesitate, afraid to stand alone because deep down you fear rejection more than failure. But here's the truth, every time you rely on someone else to give you permission to be great, you surrender a piece of your power. Think about it, how many times have you held yourself back because you were worried about what someone else would think? How often have you avoided taking risks because you feared losing someone's approval? That is the hidden cost of emotional dependence. It keeps you stuck, it keeps you small. It keeps you waiting for someone to save you instead of realizing that no one is coming because the only person who can save you is you. Does that mean you should shut people out? No. But it does mean you have to stop giving others control over your emotions, your self-worth, and your future. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who never feel pain. They're the ones who refuse to let that pain define them. So stop waiting for someone to give you the green light. The only permission you need is your own. If no one clapped for you, if no one cheered your name, if no one even noticed your efforts, would you still show up? This is where most people quit. Not because they aren't capable. Not because they don't have the talent, but because they were waiting for someone else to validate their journey. They were waiting for applause that never came. But here's the truth, greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark. It's built in those early mornings when no one is watching. It's built in those late nights when doubt creeps in, whispering that maybe you should give up. It's built when you show up, day after day, not for applause, not for recognition, but because you refuse to be anything less than what you're capable of. Ask yourself, why do you do what you do? If your answer depends on external validation, you've already lost. Because applause fades, approval is temporary, but self-respect, that stays, that grows. That is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. No one is going to hand you a trophy for being consistent. No one is going to praise you for putting in the work when nobody's looking. But those who win in life don't need a crowd to push them forward. They push themselves. So I'll ask you again, if no one applauded, would you still show up? Because if the answer is yes, you're already on the path to something extraordinary. Every single day you have a choice. A choice to show up for yourself. A choice to bet on yourself. A choice to commit not just once, not just when it's convenient, but every day. Most people wait for permission. They wait for someone to tell them they're good enough, strong enough, ready enough. But what if that permission never comes? What if no one gives you the green light? Will you let your potential go to waste? Or will you decide right now that you are enough you? Choosing yourself isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It's waking up and saying, I matter. My goals matter. My future matters. It's refusing to let doubt, fear, or other people's opinions dictate your path. Think about the greats: Oprah, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. They weren't handed success. They chose themselves over and over, even when no one else did. They weren't waiting for approval. They created it. The world will try to distract you to make you doubt yourself. But when you choose yourself every day, you build an unshakable foundation. Confidence grows. Strength multiplies. Your actions start shaping the reality you once only dreamed of. So the question is, will you wait for the world to choose you, or will you step up and choose yourself? Because the day you decide to stand in your own power is the day everything begins to change.